All right. Hello. Our voices probably came on before our faces did. That's okay.
That's
though.
fine.
Hello. Hello,
Hey,
everyone. And welcome to. Oh wait, you got to stop. Got the video to play again. There we go. Welcome to the. It's not even. I almost said the January producer stream.
But
First of all, it is not January.
It is not
the
January.
Return of the Dream Team Stream Team. Dream Stream Team.
I'm glad that one of us can talk today.
Someone's saying some very inappropriate things in Russian. That's not.
Oh, are they?
That's not cool.
Good to know.
Lisa Mahos, rein it in.
I like all the hellos out there, though. Just to be like, hi, guys, hi. Like, that's the kind of stuff I want to see.
Thank you,
Maybe a
guys.
little bit more love in there.
We appreciate that. So, welcome to the Galactic Command overview live stream. So now that Knights of the Eternal Throne has been announced at our New York cantina, we're turning the nozzle on the floodgates, letting a little bit of water out. I guess we should introduce who we are. So my name is Eric Musco. I'm the community manager.
I'm Ben Irving. I'm the producer for Star Wars Old Republic.
And I'm Charles Boyd, and I'm the creative director.
So I think we should just start talking about
let's
stuff,
get
shall we?
rolling.
All right, so here we go. First things first.
Hold on. There's a love you bit in there. I just want to say thank you. That actually is really meaningful to me today. I need a little pick-me-up, so thank you for the love.
I wish that we were streaming when Ben was trying to type. It started about as good as my talking did. It was pretty awesome.
Occasionally, a different keyboard really just messes everything up.
Okay, so let's talk about what today's agenda is, because I know that's why all of you are here. So first off, the Dark vs. Light event. It's been going on for a few months now. We've had a lot of questions on when does it end, when do I get my rewards, that type of stuff, so we'll cover some of that. Promotions. We have a new expansion. Means we have cool new stuff for our subscribers to get, and there's some exceptionally
pre-order
cool
reward program.
Yeah, there's some exceptionally cool stuff this time. We got an I Love Musco more.
Oh,
You can't keep commenting on this. This is going to turn.
That's fair though. Like I would say that. I think that's a.
We're going to turn the whole chat into I Love You battles. We had the Knights of the
Is that the worst thing that could
I guess
that
not.
could be amazing.
I
That
guess
could
not.
be really worth it.
We had the Knights of the Eternal Throne announcement, which happened in New York. So we're just going to recap that in case someone doesn't know exactly all the stuff that's coming in Knights of the Eternal Throne. Why you're here today, Galactic Command Overview. We're going to talk you through some of the basics and kind of an overview of what Galactic Command is. And then some of that will tie into, and this will make sense in a second, or I guess in like 20 minutes, command rank and command crates, and exactly what those are and how they tie into Galactic Command. And then last and certainly not least, we know that you'll have follow-up questions of when are you going to talk about X or when are you going to talk about Y? And so we're actually going to outline for you our stream and blog plan from now through launch. This way, if you're like, I really want to know more about uprisings or I want to know more about what is happening with my class, now you'll have a date to put on your calendar so you know all that information.
Yep.
Ben.
So I'm laughing because it says, Ben, marry me, I will use the force and cuddle. Sorry, okay, I'm focused now.
Yeah, so
you guys keep talking. I'm going to try to figure out what that means exactly.
If you cut, I think you're probably best suited here to figure out what that means. So one of the questions that we've seen a bunch in chat, I just want to hit it right out of the gates. Group content. What's the status on group content?
Yep,
Kotet,
sure.
etc.
Yep, so we're adding some new group content into the game for Knights of the Eternal Throne, which is really exciting. It's a brand new content type called Uprisings, and I'll give a little overview of that today. But the goal of that is it's really fast-paced kind of Star Wars action combat for 4 players, and we'll have 3 difficulty modes. The goal with it is that for our newer players to the game, that first difficulty mode is quite easy and straightforward, and it allows people to go through and see the content. But what we want is for the hardest difficulty or challenge mode, as we're calling them, we want that to be a really difficult challenge, even for our most veteran players. So that becomes that thing that, the best players of our game get to spend time trying to conquer and defeat those uprisings. So that's what we have at launch. Closely following launch, we're going to have some more uprisings coming out. Our goal for that is to happen in January. And that's kind of then will kick off this renewed focus into multiplayer repeatable content with a focus on group content. So kind of the difference between our post-expansion plan this year as opposed to last year was last year we did the monthly chapter cadence. And I think, people really loved all of those chapters. But ultimately, people really want their story to come in these big bundles. It's kind of the binge
The Netflix
era,
style.
the Netflix model. And so our plan in the future is whenever we drop a big bundle of chapters, we'll do it in one big hit. But that leaves all this gap between those 2 points in time. And so the difference this year will be in between the big story drops, we'll be doing the more traditional group and repeatable content. So our goal is for some of that to be 8-player content. but we aren't ready to release all that information. We've got to work a few things out. The goal we set at the press event last week was... The Cantina, was in January when we do the producer stream. We'll kind of fill in all the details of what is the content. We'll do our best to tell you when it's coming. If we can do it sooner, we will. We just think we might need a little bit of time to work that out. So again, we're kind of taking Star Wars Old Republic, still a huge focus on story. The storytelling is the really important part. But once you're done with that, we really want to bring this new group content and repeatable content back to the game after this expansion. So that will be our focus once we ship Knights of the Eternal Throne.
Good answer, Ben. So, let's jump into Dark vs. Light. We'll recap this quick before we get into some of the newer stuff. So, the Dark vs. Light event, again, has been running for quite a few months now. But we've gotten a lot of questions on when does the Dark vs. Light event end. It will end on November 29th, which is also the same day as Knights of the Eternal Throne Early Access. So, you have until 11/29 to make sure to get as far into Dark vs. Light as you can. If you want to go for those crazy legendary tier, then you are insane and you're awesome, and please keep doing it. The Dark vs. Light companion selection. So one of the things is all the actions that you're making in the game on the dark or the light side are working towards one of the two companions that you can get if you break into, I believe it's Eternal tier or higher. That part of Dark vs. Light is going to end on November 15th. Light side is still winning, so if you think the dark side should be winning,
better get out there.
Better get out there and work on it, because dark side is still, light side is still winning that battle. And last but not least, Double Experience is running right now, and that will also run through November 29th. And this is awesome, because if you're trying to get some of the higher tier rewards where you need 2 or more level 50 or higher characters, doing it twice as fast seems like a good thing,
what you need.
Seems like a good thing. All right. So.
Ooh, promotions.
Promotions.
Look at that dashing fellow and his amazing walker. So that might be a hint at what one of those promotional items is. How do I get it? Keep it going. Keep it going.
Yep.
There we go.
I got the magic touch.
Yes.
It didn't want to accept you. It didn't want to accept you.
So we've got some really cool stuff coming for those who are subscribed in the months to come as we lead up into Knights of the Eternal Throne. First thing, Shay Vizsla as a companion. That comes out for subscribers who are there on October 25th.
Yep.
Obviously, a personal favorite of mine. I'm a big fan of the Mandos.
So only a little bit more than a week from today.
Yeah, you better jump on it. Get Mandalore herself.
Yep.
As your buddy in battle.
Yep.
Then that little concept you saw just a moment ago, the Rapid Recon Walker. I am a huge nut for walkers in general. Anything large and armored with legs is amazing to me. So this is going to be pretty much my favorite mount to date. And that's going to be for everyone who's subscribed on November 27th, right before the expansion and early access comes out. Speaking of early access, be a subscriber from October 25th until November 27th. And you will get early access to the expansion, which is awesome. That starts November 29th.
There's nothing like getting ahead of everyone else. That's the whole trip with early access. You want to be in there first, leveling up first, getting through the story first.
Absolutely. And it is relevant, and we'll get into this as we talk about the next slide, is that similar to Knights of the Fallen Empire, Knights of the Eternal Throne is free to all subscribers. Right? So if you're a subscriber on December 2nd or earlier, if you have early access,
you get jump right in.
So let's talk about what are kind of the bullet points to the expansion of Knights of the Eternal Throne. So again, we just talked about it. Available December 2nd with early access on November 29th. So first of all, 5 new levels. An important part about a new expansion is kind of a soft reset and allowing people 5 new levels to work towards. And the primary way to do that will be playing through, the awesome 9 new chapters for Knights of the Eternal Throne. With that, we did this last year, but we wanted to make sure that the new expansion is accessible as possible. And so the way to make it accessible is to allow you to start at the Knights of the Eternal Throne storyline. So we're going to have a token. It's actually a token that allows you to start either at level 60 or at level 65. So you can either choose to start at the beginning of Knights of the Fallen Empire. Obviously, if it's your first playthrough, you'll want to go and play all the chapters and understand the story. But if you've played a bunch of times and you just want a fresh start on a fresh character, you can jump straight into Knights of the Eternal Throne, start at level 65, and play through the 9 chapters and the 5 levels there. We're doing a bunch of updates to classes. There's a couple of new abilities, 1 or 2 per class, a bunch of new utilities we're doing. We're going to kind of dive through that in a later stream and give you guys an update on all of that. And that's a really exciting way just to kind of make things feel a bit more fresh. It works for PvP, it works for PvE. It's a way to just, kind of rebalance and add some things to classes. 2 brand new planets. So these are the 2 planets we'll be exploring as we go through the chapters, and potentially things that come later we might do on these planets.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about what they are today?
No, we're not.
Today.
Okay.
We're not.
Huge tease.
Yeah.
So
they're very cool.
we'll talk about them later. So without giving them away, can't we say something like...
Yeah, so one of them is completely new to the whole Star Wars universe, completely new place to check out and learn some very deep secrets that might have been set up in the last few chapters we did. And then the other planet is new to SWTOR, but it is not new to the universe. It is one that you've probably seen or heard discussed, depending on which class stories or novels you might have read or participated in. And you might have even seen it recently without realizing it.
That's good. I like that. I like when I get your jokes. That's what makes it really good to me. So Uprisings are next. I think we just talked about Uprisings. It's kind of the new group content we're adding for day 1 of the expansion, remembering that we're going to have a lot more group content coming after the expansion than we had previously.
Yep.
But the 4-player group content that is really meant to be this fast action, very Star Wars fantasy type approach, and we'll be talking about that, I think, next
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
No, that might be next week.
Yeah.
We'll get to the... I should have it memorized at this point, but soon.
Galactic Command, which we'll dive into in a second, so I'll kind of just save my spiel for that. And then the last thing, again, just kind of based on the feedback that we got from everyone through the last 16 chapters, was making sure that the chapter content was both repeatable and had different challenge levels or difficulty levels. And so, again, with the chapters, they'll be at 3 difficulty levels. As you level up, you can pick from 2 of them, and then at max level, you can replay the hardest difficulty. That's meant to be like the really tough challenge for solo players, and there'll be incentives to do so, which we can get into in a second.
Yep.
Did I miss anything from the overview that you guys can think of?
Nope. And so just as a note, just as a reminder, because I've seen some good questions actually about some of the things on this list. Keep in mind, again, when we get to the stream schedule, like, for example, repeatable chapters, that's something that we'll be going into more detail in a later stream. So I know there's been questions like, do my choices matter when I play them again, and things like that. We'll get into that stuff in a later stream. So just stay tuned. And can I also point out that my OCD is killing me, because I made this slide and I say December 2nd, and then I use the numbers for November.
Yeah.
And I can't. I don't know how it
Shut
made
the
it
stream down. We're going to start
I don't
over.
know how I made it through
This
3
kind
revisions.
of inattention to detail that is unacceptable.
Ben's like, I've been meaning to talk, and I think we should have that talk right now. So, disclaimer, just because it's my standard thing that I feel like is just baked into my job as a community manager. It's probably on my job description. We're going to show you some screenshots today of some of the stuff with Galactic Command. Just to note, it's possible that there could be slight changes in art or naming or something like that. So what we're showing you is definitely on the right track for what Galactic Command is going to be, what it's going to look like. But don't be surprised if when you play it in December, it looks a little bit different or something's called something different. So just as a note, things are subject to change, but it's all a work in progress.
Yep. Let's take a look-see.
There it is.
So let's just talk about what are the goals of Galactic Command, what problems are we trying to solve. So I think last year there were 2 things that really stuck out to us. The first was, if you're a newer player to our game and you finished the 9 chapters of Fallen Empire, it was kind of confusing as to what you did next. You were kind of on a descent, there was a bunch of terminals that had missions on them, and you had to work out if you wanted to play PvP or do PvE or do heroics or do operations or whatever it was. You had to inherently know how to get to these places, and I think that was quite confusing for people. And so the first thing is, for some of those newer players, we want to guide them into an interface that allows them to access the whole game in a way that makes sense and is easy to understand, so they can explore all the awesome content we have in Star Wars: Old Republic. That's one set. The other set is for, kind of our veteran players, our core players who play the game a lot. We didn't really have a good system for dealing with progression. So once you finish the 9 chapters and you hit max level, it was kind of the thing we've had for a few years, where there was a bunch of different content. That content rewarded different crystal types or commendations or tokens, and you had to go off and know what to do and know what tokens to get and find one of the 20 different vendors to kind of cash in those things. And we felt like, between not having a real system for progression and with the way you geared up being complicated, we thought there was a lot of room for improvement. And so ultimately that takes us to those two things led us down a path that ended with Galactic Command, and we'll kind of talk about all the different parts of Galactic Command. But ultimately, this is a system to help manage endgame progression. The idea is that any activity that you do in the game will contribute points towards the system. As you get more points, you earn more levels. As you earn more levels, you gain more power. And as you gain that power, you can choose to influence the galaxy by fighting for the light side or the dark side of the Force. So that's the kind of one or two liner, I guess, about what Galactic Command is for.
The ultimate summary.
Yeah.
And so what we thought we would do now is we'll take you through each piece of this interface and just kind of explain what it means.
How each part works.
Yep.
Yeah.
As part of the
I've
whole.
literally nothing to add. I think you killed through that pretty easily.
All right. So command rank. This is pretty much. Because I'm talking about it, I'm going to say that it's the most important part. We can then argue over what really is.
We don't have pretzel market items to argue over this time, so we can argue over.
We're fighting over features.
This is clearly the most
Which
important
of your
part.
children is your favorite, though, Charles, given that they're all yours?
So command rank. This basically just represents your progress through the Galactic Command system. As you play just about any content in the game, you're earning points, command experience points, that increases your command rank. Every time you increase your command rank, you're going to get a command crate with some sweet loot in it. We're going to talk about that a little more in a minute, exactly what that means. But basically, play everything in the game, get points, get sweet rewards, and also earn some cool, vanity stuff. Your frames, things that'll really let you set yourself apart from other players and show that you've moved farther and farther into the end game. And become a real badass.
Yep.
Yeah, because we want you to be able to show off, right? Like if you play the game more than anyone else, we want that to be reflected in game, that you have a higher command rank than someone else does.
Exactly.
Yep. And aside from just legacy, it offers another progression system. And again, this is specifically once you've hit level 70. So you are max level, you are a subscriber, you are going through this system to try to show off to everyone that you are a higher command rank than everybody else.
Yep.
Cool.
All right.
Here's everything, all the activities that you all know and love.
Yep.
Plus those new ones, uprisings.
Yep.
So basically this is a very simple system. You click the activity you want to do. If it's a solo thing, you can just jump straight into it. If it's group content, it'll pop you into the queue. You can choose your role just like you can now for that content. Choose your challenge mode if that's relevant to the content in question, to the activity. And then jump right into the action. It's meant to be straightforward, quick, easy to pick up, everything that we've been hoping to kind of correct and streamline, just like Ben mentioned earlier.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so one of the things is if you are one of those veteran players who's been around for a long time and you want to still continue to access content through Group Finder or something, they're still there.
Yeah.
Right. If you wanted to go through something like that, if that was you're more familiar with that, you can still do so. This is just kind of a one-stop shop to get you into things quicker.
Yeah.
And we really just wanted to make it clear that anything you do in the game contributes to earning points and power. I think to me, that's the most important part of the system is, the harder things will give you more points, obviously, than the easier things.
Yeah.
But if you just feel like doing something easy or you feel like spending hours doing something hard, you can still contribute to your progression overall. And to us, I think that was the really important part.
It's that whole kind of play your way idea
Exactly.
that we've been saying. We really want you to be able to be a part of the end game, be a part of the fun of that, regardless of which activity you actually prefer.
Yep. And so one of the questions that I saw is this serve in a way as a replacement of Legacy? And the answer would be no. Command rank is actually character specific, not Legacy. So it impacts and we're going to talk about when we get to command crates, the actual impact even more so of what your command rank does. So trust me, it's very different than what you'd see from Legacy. Do you want to talk a little bit about bonus?
Oh, yeah. So one of the really cool things this system lets us do is do kind of a daily bonus that applies to one activity. And that'll kind of shuffle through all the different activities in the game so that you get bonus command points if you play that particular activity, which the goal there is to help queue times, to really focus people in on one thing. So say it's war zones. That day you're getting bonus command points for war zones. Hopefully that's driving more people into PvP, into those war zones. Making those queues faster, making it a little more exciting for all the players who do PvP as it is.
And encouraging people to get out of their comfort zone a little bit.
Try something they wouldn't have done.
Might be, I could do flashpoints, but uprisings is double command points, so it's worth checking that out. And then you might turn out that you love that content and you play more of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so all of the things, again, that you're doing in Galactic Command, not only are they raising your command rank, but they're also contributing to the last element, which is of Galactic Command, which is the dark versus light.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to hood fake you a little bit on this because I'll say this much, kind of what Ben alluded to. All the things that you're doing almost all the things you're doing in the game are contributing to the dark or light side kind of battle that's going on your server at any given time. And I know that you're going to have some questions on what that means, but this system is kind of a bit more robust than some of the other stuff we're talking about. So we're actually going to be doing another live stream this week on Thursday to talk you through exactly how this whole system works and what there is to it, because there's quite a bit to it. So it's a little bit more than we'd fit in one 30-minute-ish stream. So we'll be going more into this later this week, but just know that all the things that you're doing in Galactic Command are kind of a part of this.
Yeah, driving this kind of server-wide thing, which is really, really cool.
Yep.
So, loot crates. So I touched on this at the very beginning in my summary, which is one of the really complicated and confusing parts of our game has been how do you gain power? You know, you had to, in the current game, know which crystals to get from doing what activities, then know where to find the vendors that sell the gear appropriate for the crystals that you had obtained, or tokens, or, you know, commendations, or all the different currencies. And so what we wanted to do is make this much simpler. Once you level up the command bar, you get a loot crate. And we're calling them command crates. And those command crates contain power. They contain the gear that has power on them, as well as to a bunch of other things. You know, there'll be some vanity stuff. We might have some crafting materials. We're still working out the details of everything that's in there and the specifics of it. But the goal is that you will gain power by leveling up your command ranks.
Yep. Which also means, if you're keeping track of what we talked about with that earlier, that means that you will be able to work your way towards things like endgame gear through almost anything.
Yeah.
Right? And now, it is our intent, of course, with that in mind, that there are specific places that you get command rank much faster.
Right, and so I think that ties into two really salient points.
Yep.
Which the first one is, the higher your command rank, the better gear you'll get. So why am I interested in getting the highest command rank possible? Well, as you get through certain thresholds, the tier of gear that you'll earn will become much better rewards. So that's the first part. You're incentivized to earn more levels, to gain more power, to gain the better power. But the other point is on the timing stuff. You know, if you spend all your days doing heroics on the planets, that might be what you love to do, and that's totally fine. But if you play that for, say, 8 hours, or you try to do the hardest mode uprisings for 8 hours, assuming you're successful, you know, you'll earn way more points from doing the uprisings. And the goal there is to reward the people who are the most skilled doing the hardest content. They will progress much faster and therefore gain access to the power and the most powerful loot faster than people who are doing, you know, easier content, or say aren't putting as many hours into the game.
Yep.
So we really feel like both the casual players can now do whatever they want, and just over time they can eventually get gear. It might just take quite a long time. But, you know, the really kind of core players who play a lot of our game, you know, they'll get their gear much faster, and so they'll still be ahead. But it just allows everyone to kind of play the game the way they want to.
Yeah. The other really cool thing down there at the bottom is a button which has one of my favorite words on it, disintegrate.
Yes.
This allows you to kind of take a little bit of the random out for yourself. Essentially, if you get items that you don't need or don't want, you can disintegrate them. That basically converts them into more command points and gets you closer to your next command rank just really quickly on top of what you were already doing. So that you can, you know, if you didn't get what you wanted this time, start making some progress to the next one immediately. Yep. Nothing goes to waste.
Yep. And so one of the things that we mentioned, and it'll be covered on the next slide as well, is that we just talked about changes in how gearing works and a lot of that stuff. There's going to be a lot of questions that I'm sure all of you will have about exactly how all this shakes out. But again, that's a pretty big topic, and so we're not going to go super deep divey on the stream. But literally the second I walk back to my desk after this stream, I'm going to have a bunch of different threads up explaining, one, more details on what we just talked about, and two, answering questions throughout the rest of the night, the rest of the week. I'll be working with these guys answering any questions you guys have about exactly how all that'll work. So,
cool.
Okay, that's command rank and command crates. So, shall we recap what Galactic Command is?
Let's do it. I can't remember who was going to say this, so why don't we just see what happens?
Should we explain that? Before we started the stream, we went through the PowerPoint and we're like, all right,
I'll take this slide,
and I'll take that slide. And then we're all done and we looked at each other. We're like, I don't remember which slides were supposed to be mine. Don't remember.
All right, well, give me a little shot at some of this. So first of all, Galactic Command is accessible from anywhere for subscribers at level 70. So it was really important that we made this a subscriber perk. So we really wanted subscribers to feel like they are getting the coolest parts of the game available to them. And this is a really great way we thought to do that. And so access to Galactic Command is restricted to subscribers, which we think is a really, really awesome thing that we can do for all of you guys. Uprisings is the brand new group content. We're going to dive into that in a second. There's a schedule, I think, on the next slide.
Yep.
Again, the goal with the system is you can access all the content in the game. There's brand new content like chapters, the repeatable chapters, and uprisings, but there's also the other content that's been in the game before that we're going to scale up to max level. So for those of you who still enjoy playing Flashpoints, Operations, PvP, you can enjoy all that content and earn rewards towards Galactic Command as well.
Yep.
Again, you earn command experience points to get command ranks, which get you command crates. That give you the most powerful gear in the game. That's where that'll be your way of obtaining gear in this expansion. But the command crates include more than just gear. They'll include some vanity items, the ratio of how many slots are there and how does that work, and how many pieces of gear do I get or not get per crate. We'll dive into all of that kind of in the weeds of the details over the next week or so as Eric has a chance to do that. And yeah, why don't you put the last one?
Yeah, and again, the last bullet, I know that you guys will have questions about some of the stuff that we talked about today. If it's not, especially if it's Galactic Command overview, Galactic Command gearing and itemization, that type of stuff, happy to answer any questions that you guys have in the forums, just because I know there'll be a lot of discussion and a lot of questions, so we'll do that there for sure. But that does bring up a good point, which is, what about everything else that we haven't talked about today, which...
Actually, just probably one final thing, I just saw a question on it, the only way to get command crates is to participate in the game. We're not selling them on cartel market. There's no way to get them with alternate currency.
Yeah.
It's only by leveling up and earning command experience and getting command ranks.
And even disintegrating, you can only disintegrate items that are in command crates. You cannot disintegrate
other items.
Cartel market items. There is nothing about Galactic Command that has anything to do with the cartel market.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about our updates. Again, we're going to start doing these streams probably weekly, maybe more in some instances. So expect to see a lot more of us if you want to or don't want to, and then I guess if you don't.
It's optional.
Yeah, our next live stream, like I said, we're diving right into this head first. This Thursday, so in 3 days, we'll be back again to talk about the rest of Galactic Command, which is finishing up on Dark versus Light, how that impacts your server, what kind of rewards and stuff you can get. There's a lot more to it that you may not realize yet, which you wouldn't because we haven't told you. So we're going to tell you on Thursday. So be sure to come back Thursday to hear all of that, which will be Dark versus Light. Here's all the stuff we're going to talk about in the future. All the other questions that you guys may have about the other pieces and parts of Eternal Throne. Uprisings will be next Thursday. Thursday after that, we're going to talk about combat changes, which we'll allude to that in a second, and some of the class changes that are coming as well. Repeatable chapters and difficulty levels. We may even play one or something like that. We'll figure out exactly what that is, but we'll answer any questions or address anything at that time. The week after that, we're going to be the new planets. I'm glad that I removed the name off of that because I had the name of the planets on there. I'm glad we didn't have that still there. And story insights with Charles, or as I like to call it, Carls of the Eternal Throne.
Oh, gosh. I'm not sure if that joke can make sense with a long explanation.
It probably doesn't.
But that's going to be like a story AMA with Charles.
Yeah, I'll basically just hang out, answer whatever questions I can, whatever's not too spoilery.
Yep.
Maybe give some insights into stuff leading up to this, any kind of random writery questions y'all have in general.
Yep.
Bring it on.
Yep. And then the last is on the 24th, which is the Thursday before launch, the week before launch. We'll kind of do a wrap-up of everything that we've talked about from this stream through the rest of October and November. It'll probably be the three of us, and we'll talk about all that stuff and then answer any questions that you guys have leading into the expansion. Because by that point, we will have pretty much talked about everything, barring story spoilers.
And anything we missed or any other questions we see, we'll just that'll be our catch-all.
Yep,
I guess.
anything else that comes up. So... that is the... I know there's a wrap-up still,
Oh,
right?
yeah, we still have one little...
There's still a wrap-up?
Don't ruin it.
Is there a wrap-up? Let me make sure. Okay, there's a wrap-up.
There we go.
Oh, I should have known, by the way. I was really proud of myself with these background images because Senya's fighting someone and then Senya kills them.
It's almost like the PowerPoint
not-
itself
And that
tells a
was-
story.
Yeah, it really does.
I'm not sure if you have to call it out if you can be that proud.
I know.
I feel like you needed people
It's like
to
if you
notice.
have to explain the joke, it's already ruined. Look, it's been a long day. Okay.
I have seen a couple other questions just
Yeah, please, by all
randomly
means.
Let's jump
from
on
the thing. So one was about, hey, any plans for server mergers or character transfers and things like that? And so I can answer that kind of off the cuff. We haven't really talked about specifically answering that on the stream. But in general, right now, we're seeing a lot of players flood back to the game after the announcement. And so we certainly don't want to do anything about server merges before the expansion goes live. Our experience last year was that so many people came back to the game and got really excited about the game that all the servers were so full. And if we had merged any of them, we would have had you guys in queues waiting to play the game. And so we certainly don't have any plans to do that before the end of this year. But obviously we'll monitor that afterwards and see if it makes any sense to either combine servers or improve our character transfer service or whatever the things are that we might do.
Right.
That's all maybes. There's no promises there or anything. I saw the question come up. I wanted to address it, that we won't do anything about that this year. Again, we're seeing so many people come back to the game. I think all the servers will start to feel really full really soon.
Yep, and the same would be said of cross-server, because I know that is often tied into that question. And that's where we have the kind of things like doing lots of little things like providing bonus for Galactic Command, allowing people to switch instances to play on any server that they want. We try to introduce a lot of little things to make sure that people can play where they want and how they want and the content they want, while being sensitive to what your times are to actually access that content and those activities, and making sure that it's faster for you. So.
Yep. That was the main question I saw. I don't know if Eric or Tate, or do we see any other big questions we didn't get to?
A lot of the stuff that I saw was for stuff that we'll cover in like Dark versus Light, and we'll cover in Uprisings and some of that stuff. But
yeah, cool. All right.
You want to wrap it up?
Yeah. Should we talk? Oh, who cares? I was trying to work out who should say what. Doesn't really matter, right? So we have the sub promotions going on. Charles talked about this. I think
real exciting stuff.
Whether you love getting new companions and ultimate bounty hunters with fiery red hair like Shay Vizsla, or all you want to do is have a recon walker, or just get ahead of all your friends with early access. Getting into sub now is certainly the way to get a head start on everyone else for Knights of the Eternal Throne when it hits. And if you make it for all of it, it'll be on November 29th. The Dark vs. Light event and Double XP ends 11/28 for getting all the achievements.
Yep.
Obviously, we'll end the contest of the Light vs. Dark beforehand, so we can make sure we get the companions set up in game for you guys.
That should be 11/29, by the way.
Yeah, 11/29.
That should be 11/29. Pretend that 8 is a 9.
Galactic Command is a brand new system. Again, it's all about endgame progression, a way to reward people for playing the game however they want. But obviously, the more difficult and challenging ways to play the game will earn you the most points to get you the rewards the fastest. But again, everyone can earn that power and the best gear in the game. Some people will just get there really quickly, and some people it will take quite a long time based on how you choose to play Knights of the Eternal Throne.
Yep.
Talked about that. So earn command points, earn dark and light points. We'll talk about that on Thursday.
Yep.
Command crates are the new way to get powerful gear in the game. And then we have our next live stream this Thursday to talk about Dark vs. Light.
That's right.
And it's just really exciting for us because we can finally now, every week, talk about Knights of the Eternal Throne with all of you guys. I know we're all really proud of the expansion. It's turning up. I think the story, the chapters, the gameplay is all much more exciting than our last expansion was. Galactic Command gives us a better way to deliver this, renewed focus on repeatable multiplayer content. And so, while we've got a little bit of work ahead of ourselves to get to November 29th, I think we're all really excited.
Yeah, this is such an exciting time, like we said, to actually get to start sharing this stuff that we've all been, heads down working so hard on. It's cool to start sharing the team's work with everyone.
Yep. All right, so let's see. How many more bullets do I have? The Galactic. As soon as this stream is over, in case anyone missed the live stream or you want to read, I don't really think there's many more details in it, but we're going to be publishing our Galactic Command overview blog. Will be right after the stream is over, which will also serve as kind of like a recap of some of the stuff that we talked about today. I'm trying to think if there's another bullet. We have something after this slide, and that's why I'm trying to not scoop myself. Perfect.
All right.
And there'll be more discussions in the forums after this. Again, I'll be doing a lot more gearing information there, along with answering any questions that you guys have about anything that we talked about today. So that's going to do it for us. We'll say goodbye, and then we'll let...
And then Charles is
going to intro what we're going to show you next.
Yeah, we've got just a cool sequence of some new gameplay. We know we've got a lot of new stuff coming in the expansion this year. We really wanted to mix up the gameplay, do some really cool new things that you never got to do before. I may have hinted at what this would be at the beginning of the stream when I talked about just how much I love stomping around in walkers. So this is a little clip of you as the player getting to stomp around in a walker and do some serious damage.
So with that, we will say goodbye because we won't be returning until Thursday. So thank you all for joining us.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Please enjoy the video. And again, I'll see you guys in the forums in 5 minutes. All right?
Awesome.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Take care.